Hey there. My name is D.G. Valdron. I'm a writer, as you can see from one of the books behind me, and this is my attic, so welcome. Today, we're going to do a movie review, one that's just come out lately. It's called The Ice Cream Man. Now, there was a previous Ice Cream Man from 1995. It starred Clint Howard, the funny looking younger brother of Ron Howard. Um, Clint Howard plays basically an ice cream themed serial killer. He's pursued by a bunch of kids. It's a weird take on the Goonies or something. Very 1990s, very Spielbergian, low budget. And of course, Clint as the killer is basically, well, he's the movie's big special effect. He's a weird looking, creepy guy, and he sells it. Now, this movie has nothing to do with any of that, so just forget I said anything. This version of The Ice Cream Man is by Eli Roth, best known for the Cabin Fever series. Eli is kind of the bad boy of horror. His movies are subversive, extremely gory. They tend to go right up to the edge of camp and beyond. There's a grossness that he wallows in, but it's also a funny grossness if you can get your sense of humor out to that level. Now, this movie is basically, uh, I think it's probably Needful Things, the Stephen King thing. Stranger comes to town, in this case, the Ice Cream Man, and Evil in Shoes. In this case, the Ice Cream Man basically turns a bunch of kids into killer zombies who murder their parents in really graphic, cartoonish, and often silly but disgusting ways. If I had to sum this movie up, I think I would call it stupid smart. And I'll explain that, but I kind of like that stupid smart. First up, some interesting things. The movie starts off really Norman Rockwell, very much Spielberg of the 80s and 90s. You know, you can just kind of get that flavor of E.T. and the Goonies and even the Lost Boys, basically. Small town, tree lined streets, you know, kids on bicycles, girls doing cartwheels, skipping rope. It's idyllic. It's very idyllic. And that lasts maybe 5 or 10 minutes because the ice cream man shows up, and then as night falls, the kids start murdering people. Um, and then basically, it's sort of Night of the Living Dead. It's kind of these kids are sort of zombified, or sometimes they get pretty lively. So it's kind of Night of the Living Dead. Also, kind of The Crazies by Romero, another film basically like hyperactive murder. And a lot of the movie is taken up with just ridiculous amounts of gore. You get to see people getting chopped to pieces in all kinds of ridiculous ways with all kinds of ridiculous instruments. Some guy gets his head, his skull peeled off, and his brains scooped out literally with an ice cream scoop. There's another scene where we see a little girl skipping rope with somebody's severed intestines as I think the guy is still screaming. And there's all sorts of bizarre, wacky, graphic murders, all done enthusiastically. I have. I don't know who's in this movie. I don't really care. It's basically a no-name cast, and frankly, most of the cast members are little kids, and they're authentic little kids, not teenagers or adults masquerading as teenagers, but little kids on bicycles, and you can tell they're not actors, and they're kind of having the time of their life in a very, very gory way. Um, the gore is basically Roth's trademark kind of comedy gore. It's so over the top, it's ludicrous, but there's also a low budget quality to it. It's like he ran out of money and outsourced the gore effects to a junior high school. There's some fun stuff. I mean, a lot of this is stuff we've seen before, but played up in a kind of zesty way. Often I was sitting there watching this and just kind of juxtaposing the whole kind of brightly colored candy look of the horror with the the weird grimness of the subject matter and the comedic violence and gore, and thinking, well, who is this movie made for? What are like, where's the audience for this? Because except for the fact that it's really incredibly gory, it feels genuinely like a kids movie. It's got that kind of you know, child 12-year-old sensibilities, that child 12-year-old plot sensibility to it, like sort of Goonies, I suppose. So, what are the smart parts of this? Well, first off, this is a movie where Eli Roth is having kids. And kids, basically, if you watch movies, if you look at horror, kids are sacred. It is often very taboo to kill kids. It is taboo to put kids in danger. It is taboo to show kids doing violence. America worships kids, and I was at a horror convention once, watching a panel of these really big name horror writers, and they all got asked, well, so what can't you do in horror? What's off the line? And they all said, kids. Well, um, that's not entirely true because if you were watching for it, you do see kids just show up. There's a previous, child zombie movie where all the kids go mental and zombie. I can't think of the name right now. There's been a number of others where children are the monster or the victim or something. So it does show up, but it's still subversive when it happens. And so this is Eli Roth's pin-sized take on the zombie genre. Brightly colored and over the top and kind of ridiculous and cartoonish. It's for the itchy and scratchy generation. And I gotta say, that's kind of fun. Um, there's a really nice Easter egg in there. The ice cream man himself, I swear to God, the guy is a dead ringer for John Waters, the cult film maker from, I think, Pittsburgh. John Waters, of course, if you've never heard of him, shame on you. Look him up. But John Waters did Desperate Living, Female Trouble, a bunch of movies like that. Very low budget, very transgressive, almost surreal, and often quite gross. The Ice Cream Man has that same kind of gaunt look, that same almost handsome, slicked back quality, and of course that pencil mustache. I'm betting on it. Now, the other smart part of this is kind of disturbing because the backstory, and I'm going to spoil it right now, so stop if you need to. The backstory is that the ice cream man 20 years before this was just a regular guy who loved selling ice cream to kids. He had his van, he just made his rounds. But in this town, children were being abused. Children were being sort of perversely and naughtily abused. And it was often enough and common enough that it became a problem. So the leaders of the city, the founding fathers, whatever, the people with status, decided to cover this up, and they needed a scapegoat. So they picked the ice cream man because nobody knew him, and they got all the kids to lie. He went to jail, he died, and now he's back for revenge. And you can't watch that, you can't learn about that backstory without thinking of the Epstein files, without thinking of Epstein and Maxwell, and especially the number of politicians and celebrities and billionaires like Bill Gates or Donald Trump or Howard Lutnick, who seem to keep having unusual levels of connections and contact with Epstein. We've heard of thousands, potentially, of children, mostly girls, but including boys, being molested, some of them quite violently. We've heard of at least 10 co-conspirators, none of whom have ever been charged. And so we feel like there's this big social cover-up going on and some scapegoating. Epstein was definitely guilty, as was Maxwell. But the powers that be are kind of closing ranks. And so you've got this kind of transgressive idea that's behind the ice cream man and animating. Maybe it's just a throwaway gag, but it's really about this kind of violence and the sins uh, of the fathers, the sins of the abusers coming back, the children are murdering the parents who themselves were abused and testifying against him. There's kind of like an interesting theme there. Now, maybe I'm reading too much into it, maybe I'm not, but it made the Ice Cream Man more interesting for me than it might have made it otherwise if it was just a straight up gore. And one of the things I'll say about guys like Eli Roth is that often they cloak fairly interesting, fairly subtle messages in sort of this cartoonish vaudeville garb. And you know what? There's a long tradition of that. Shakespeare's fools were always characters who we were meant to laugh at, but who made trenchant observations, who told the truth, who guided things through. Um, and I think there's room for that in the movies too. Anyway, bottom line on The Ice Cream Man, it's fun. It's visibly, obviously low budget and cheap looking. The acting is terrible because you've just got 8-year-olds who are having fun. Um, and the special effects are really kind of hit and miss, but there is so much gore, it's overwhelming. And in the end, um, I liked it. I gotta say, I liked it. And maybe that's my flaw, is I really like these sort of cheap, ugly, silly movies that, just go balls to the wall. Why not? Anyway, that's my review. The Ice Cream Man. The mainstream reviewers basically all hate it. I think you should check it out. Go for it. Uh, it reminded me a little bit of Needful Things, movies like that. Oh, Jesus Christ, I was going so well.